Yeah, what you been playing? You know I'm playing on that shaman, baby. That shaman, baby. You know I'm playing on that shaman, baby. Shaman, baby. You seen that shaman? You seen that shaman? New metal. You seen that shaman? You seen that shaman?
Elemental, must be mental. Rocking these fools, keep up the tempo. Shocking these fools, leave you in limbo. Till them drop finish you in the endo. PvP or PvE, searching for runes on SOD. Shaman contain, shield mastery. Storm strike to your face, that looks likely.
Yeah.
Shock it like it's hot. Shock it like it's SOD. Shock it like it's hot. Shock it like it's SOD. SOD shamans can't do anything. Grip a trouble, spam healing rain. Universal target to cause some pain. Grew by low shamanistic rage. Where my shaman boys at? Holla at me. Jay, I did this song for you, you should be happy. Shock it like it's hot, came from Riggs, he made it snappy. Just having fun on a Saturday morning in my jammies. Mr. Sully on the track, so nasty. Shock it like it's hot. Shock it like it's hot. Shock it like it's hot. Shock it like it's SOD. Shock it like it's hot. Shock it like it's hot. Shock it like it's hot. Shock it like it's SOD.
Enhancement Shaman is one of the most versatile classes in WoW Season of Discovery, with different damage types, different rune setups, the ability to off-heal, mana battery, provide moderate DPS, decent AoE and some burst, all while being an absolute monster on the threat table. Enhancement genuinely is one of the most enjoyable classes I've played in Season of Discovery so far. The first thing I'm going to talk about, again, is talents. So on screen you can see a 5 Ancestral Knowledge, 5 Thundering Strikes, 3 Lightning Shield, 2 Enhancing Totems, and 1 Flurry build, and this is my go-to maximum DPS build. You do have some points to play around with here, so let's go through it. Ancestral Knowledge gives 5% extra mana. It's not much, but you do have mana issues as a shaman, sort of, but I'll explain that more. You then go into 5 Thundering Strikes, it's just the best tier on this row. Then you go into Enhancing Totems. I'd say everything up to here, if you're going pure DPS, is pretty mandatory. You can then basically flex 3 points wherever you'd like. Now, for PvP, I actually go 2 into Ghost Wolf, 1 into Two-Handed Weapons, and 1 into Flurry. For pure PvE, I typically go 3 into Lightning Shield. 1, because you're probably going to pull threat during the fight at some point anyway, and if you're going to get hit, you may as well do some extra damage. You're basically trying to get down to Flurry. Flurry is just an amazing talent for us at the moment. So there's a couple of different options for pure DPS. Going back then, we have a hybrid build. So if you're occasionally called upon to tank, this is the build I would be going. And you then use the flex point in Ancestral Knowledge. You have shield specialization, which means you can swap to a shield and you're not completely griefing. If you have to tank like 1 or 2 fights in the raid, this is the build I'd be going. You don't lose very much to go this, which is why I think it's such a great idea to run this build. But yeah, so that's kind of the build I'd be running in if I ever had to like hybrid tank, so DPS everything but maybe Kelris and Akamai in the raid. But overall, it's a pretty simple setup. You're trying to get down to Flurry. That's your biggest talent at the moment and the most important. Now, talking about runes, you don't really have loads of options. In your chest rune, we're looking at dual wield specialization. Increases your chance to hit with both spells and melee attacks by 5% while dual wielding. Now, we don't get the second benefit of this, which is your Storm Strike now hits with both weapons, but just 5% chance to hit is absolutely insane and should almost be mandatory at all times. In PvP, I do occasionally run Overload with Lava Burst, but we can talk more about that later or in another video. Again, obviously, Shield Mastery you would switch to if you ever needed to off-tank as well. In your leg rune, this is one of the runes that makes Enhancement Shaman so cool. Shamanistic Rage reduces all damage you take by 20%, and you regenerate mana every second for 15 seconds. Mana regenerated per second is equal to 15% of your attack power, 10% of your spell power, or 6% of your healing power, whichever value is greatest. Your party members within 40 yards will also receive 10% of the mana you receive this way. Now, this is pretty much the only option you'd run in this. In fact, it is the only option you'd run in this, just because you will have so many mana issues if you don't run this. Now, just to give you some example, my very non-optimized Shaman tank, even in DPS gear, is running nearly 400 attack power. This is without any weapon swaps or anything, which you can do if you really want to optimize it. Not being Orc for Blood Fury and things like that. Is giving 58 mana every 1 second, which rounded up it'll be about 6 mana per tick for everyone else as well. Now you can do some funky stuff where you run double Rockbiter and you'll jump up even higher with attack power, quite considerably higher as well. With better optimized gear, I can actually get to around the 650 mark on an Orc, which is kind of crazy and does give so much mana back to your team. Finally then, we have the last rune, which is actually a bit of a flex slot. Now, you'd think Lava Lash is just the immediate choice, and in most situations it will be. However, running Molten Blast in dungeons can give you some insane amounts of AoE. Just be careful because literally no tank in the game will hold threat off you. Lava Burst is also actually a good option. If there's any time where you're not able to hit the boss, I've been running Lava Burst. If there's any time where the boss has, like Goomra, where it's a increased damage taken phase, I do also tend to run Lava Burst as well, so I can hit it just as it's about to go in that phase. I'm not actually 100% sure, to be honest. I've run both of these with some success, and when you look at Warcraft logs, actually there's people at the top running both Lava Lash and Lava Burst. So I don't think you're going to be particularly punished if you run either of these. My personal preference is to run Lava Lash. It really doesn't mess up the rotation by casting, which is weird. It's also very cheap on mana and does encourage you to run Flame Tongue off your offhand, which is quite needed for threat. Let's get into stats before we get into gear. There's a couple of stats that are really, really valuable to us, and some that are less so, and it might not be intuitive. Strength is actually our big bang for buck stat. We want to stack it as much as possible. It gives us raw attack power. For every 1 strength is a direct conversion to 2 attack power. You have agility then, with every 1 agility provides 0.05% crit. So, while yes, it is still a good stat and is going to provide us crit, which is more flurry uptime and things like that, in itself it's not actually the stat we want to stack. Intellect, actually underrated. Intellect gives us spell crit as well as a bigger mana pool. I wouldn't ever go out of my way to stack Intellect, but if I happen to get Intellect on some pieces of gear, I wouldn't be okay. I wouldn't be mad about it. You then have Spell Power. Spell Power scales with your shocks. It doesn't scale with Lava Lash, and we don't have Storm Strike to make big use of it at the moment. So it is literally just your shocks, but you will be shocking quite a lot in a fight, so it does still have some value. Again, if you can get it without griefing yourself elsewhere, it's not a bad choice. Now let's talk gear. People really liked in my Shaman Tank video that I went over different options and things like that for each slot, so I'm going to do it again here. Going first with the helmet. Humbert's helmet is almost just you just aren't going to beat it. It actually holds up well against the raid stuff as well, but it can be quite expensive. If you can't afford to get a Humbert's helm, there is the ringed helm which gives some extra stamina, or just pick up the goggles or just a cowl, just so you've got something in your head slot to give you a little bit of extra stats and armor. But if you're not going to go for the Humbert's helm, nothing else is really going to matter too much in the helmet slot. Going down to the amulet then, the only amulet you're really going to be able to get is the Scout's Medallion. You can potentially pick up a Spectral Necklace if I add random suffixes. You can get something like Of the Tiger, which actually holds up well against things like raid stuff, but they are going to be very expensive. The Scout's Medallion is honoured with Warsong Outriders and not particularly hard to get now that Ashenvale's fixed. In the shoulders then, I actually like Bristleback Amiss as one of your best options. Gives agility and strength, strength being that stat that we want to stack, and when you then look at some of the other options, there's not really many with great stats. Bristlebark Amis is not particularly expensive to pick up either, so it's definitely one that I would pick up. Obviously, you can then replace it with Sentinel Pauldrons once you get into the raid, but actually, if you want maximum damage, I would even say that Bristlebark still competes. Looking at the cape then, I've gone for Slayer's Cape. You can see some comparisons between Enhancement DPS and Enhancement Tank Gear, and that's because they're actually quite close. Now, if we're being, facetious, you could actually go and pick up a random suffix cape for agility 4 strength or 4 strength 4 stamina. It's going to run you a lot more money than just a Slayer's Cape, which is going to be 4 strength 3 stamina for a lot less. Your chest piece then is Murloc's Scale Breastplate. I really like this chest piece, and you actually have two options here. You have the Black Whelp Tunic and the Murloc Scale Breastplate. Now, this gives you a lot of damage. However, you are going to have the issue that, you have to get it crafted. Quite luckily at the moment, because Murlocs are so heavily farmed, the materials for the Murloc Scale Breastplate are actually quite cheap. I picked up most of this for about 30 odd silver on the auction house, and you can see it actually requires level 14, so you can use it while leveling and things like that as well. It's a really big pickup. If you don't want this, there are some other options in terms of like Panther Armor from a quest in Stone Talon, or Blackened Defias Armor. However, if you're wanting just pure damage, Murloc Scale Breastplate is what I'd be going for. Bracers then, again, Bristlebark is fantastic. You can go and farm the Jurassic Wrist Guards if you want a little bit more just raw stats. Again, you're going to get 2 more agility. The cost to my sanity of trying to farm this rare wasn't worth it for me, but it may be for you. You would then have things like Wolf Bracers for agility 2 stamina. Not a bad pickup early game just to have something in the bank. But other than that, you're looking for either agility bracers, or the best ones that we could find is of power, the attack power bracers. Again, these, because people have realized that they're actually best in slot for most people, these get quite expensive. These bracers right here, 12 attack power equivalent to 6 strength for us, which means we would only beat them with the raid ones. Now, weapons I'll come back to because they are the only bit that we actually have to think about here. Obviously, you do want to get the Void Touch Leather Gloves as soon as possible. However, I understand that's not necessarily realistic for day one, and if you're trying to gear up before the raid on your new ult or things like that, it can be difficult. Now, again, I'm running Bristlebark Gloves here. There are a couple of options, though. So you could run the Bristlebark Gloves, or you can run the Heavy Earthen Gloves. Now, the Heavy Earthen Gloves do technically give you 8 strength worth of stats, which is actually quite noticeable over the Bristlebark, but they are considerably more expensive. Agility also, it's not a great stat. You would need 20 agility to gain 1% crit, which is quite high, but you do still want some agility to get flurry proc. So for the cost difference, I'm going to go for Bristlebark. Deathkin, again, I think it's just a crazy overstatted belt. This is BiS for the game, I believe, or the phase. Leggings of the Fang, I really enjoy as well. There's nothing really that competes with it. You've got Greasy Tinker legs, you've got some high agility legs, but nothing that's going to give us a crazy amount of strength. So when you then look at these, 5 strength, 9 agility, they're just an amazing pickup. You then have Warsong Boots. Now, this is the one where people are going to be like, why? And it's because they're very easy to pick up. They are nicely statted boots, but you have got some other options. Feet of the Lynx give us 8 agility, same as the Warsong Boots, but 3 strength instead of 6 stamina, which is, a little bit more damage. You also have the Draftsman Boots, which are ones that are really underrated, and they come from Stone Talon Mountains, which is 5 strength, 5 stamina. Now, I actually think these are better than the Warsong Boots, but, again, it's another quest. It's a quest chain, I believe, so it's your choice if you want to. You then do have the Hillsbrad Foothills ones, which is 4 strength, 4 agility, slightly less attack power, but you gain the agility on top. For me personally, I wanted a couple of pieces where I picked up stamina, just so I'm not running around with like 700 health, but it's your choice. You do have a couple of different options here. Now, the rings, we're really lucky in that both of our rings are actually quite easy to get. The Band of the Iron Fist comes from the raid. Go and get the damp note from the priestesses, run it back to town, and the next quest will give you the Band of the Iron Fist in the raid. Secondly then is Silverlane's Family Seal. There's just nothing really that competes with this, but there are even a couple of options here as well. You can run the Legionnaire's Band. 4 strength, 4 agility, 2 stamina. We're going to lose 3 strength but gain more stats elsewhere, and it's a very easy pickup just from Honoured in Warsong Outriders. One of the other pickups is Seal of Sylvanas. Just because it's so easy to get the quest done, it'll be a nice early pickup for you. There's a couple of different choices. I mean, Thunderbrow Ring, if you really want to spend lots of money, is going to be phase BiS for us. But I don't really have that kind of gold. I wish I did. Obviously, then you have some green rings if you want to just check the auction house. But really, I would be running Band of the Iron Fist and either Silverlanes or Legionnaires as early as I can. Trinkets then, you want to run... Well, the only one you can get before raid is Rune of Perfection, which decreases the magical resistances of your spell targets by 10. Now, you think this is minor, it really, really is, but the Rune of Perfection is actually quite a nice pickup, because you will be shocking a lot, so it actually does have value in the raid. Finally then, our weapons. Bearded Bone Axe is our phase BiS one-handed weapon, and it just does as an orc. Now, Orc wants axes because of axe specialization. It helps us get that extra hit, which is massive. So you want a maximum DPS axe in your main hand, of which this really is. Head splitter's there as well if you want it. But this is technically just as big as you're going to get for your main hand. And then in the offhand, Callous Axe is, I would say, an easy pickup. That would be a lie. It's a nightmare to get because it's only on one vendor for Horde, and that vendor is camped by bots an unbelievable amount. But it does provide a lot of attack power, and it's a very slow weapon, which is what we want in our offhand. The slower the better, especially if we're running Lava Lash. We want that Lava Lash to be hitting as hard as possible, and there's no downside for it being a slow weapon. So that's kind of our pre-raid BiS, and then if I quickly switch to this, you can see there's a couple of pieces, Deathkin Belt, Bristlebark Amice, Bearded Bone Axe, that do stay with us till the end. Again, Silverlanes and Band of the Iron Fist. So let's just go through quickly the other choices. Your helmet, if you technically don't want to run the 3 set, you can. There's a couple of things here. You can be spell hit capped and ability hit capped very easy as an orc. You're going to get 5% from abilities, 5% from your rune, you're going to get some from your weapon skill, and you're going to have the gloves on as well. You're pretty much going to be spell hit capped before you even step foot in the raid. If you do want maximum amount of melee hits, running Twilight Slayer's Cowl is kind of crazy, but Artemis is not going to be a bad pickup for us either. I'm actually personally more switching towards Twilight Slayer's Cowl with how much damage our melee attacks are in raid. The High Tide Choker, 4 agility, 7 strength. The only other option is the 6 strength, 6 stamina. This is much better for PvP. This is much better for PvE. Take your choice. Bristlebark Amice we've already talked about. Sergeant's Cloak just provides so many stats. Technically, the Black Fathom Deep's Shimmering Thresher Cape gives us more strength, but the generic stats that we get from Sergeant's Cloak is just crazy. Twilight Slayer's Tunic is just BiS, 13 agility, 9 stamina, which, again, when we're looking at that, it's not giving us many stats that we actually want in terms of strength, but it just contributes to the chest piece, the set piece. Bindings of Serikis, as we talked about, these are great, but they are only equal, basically, to Headhunters Bands of Power. They just give some stamina on top. So they are going to be a nice pickup, but you can get greens that are kind of equal in damage. Our weapons don't really change. We just want an Axe of the Enforcer in the offhand. Another Axe hits lots harder and still provides us with that attack power as well. Our gloves are 100% the epic crafted ones for that 1% chance to hit, as well as the on use that we do take advantage of as well. Deathkin Belt, Leggings of the Fang, same again. Twilight Slayer's foot pads, literally just to contribute. I mean, they are really well statted actually as well, but just to contribute to the set. Our rings we've talked about, our Rune of Perfection we've talked about, and the Avengers Void Pearl is another 18 attack power on top. Overall, in this setup, if I quickly go to buffs and put the buffs that I would be receiving in raid on, Battle Shout, Strength of Earth Totem, and main hand weapon, I want a little cheeky Rock Biter. So in raid, I'd be running nearly 600 attack power, which you can start to see where we're getting some of them big shamanistic rages from. But yeah, so that would be my game BiS or phase BiS so far. In a raiding environment, we're going to want to do a couple of things before the boss. So having our Strength of Earth Totem down means we save ourselves a global within the fight, and Searing Totem compared to Fire Nova Totem, Searing Totem is better if it's going to be hitting the boss for the entire time. Fire Nova is better if it ever gets that chance to hit multiple targets. On a boss like Goomra, where he has that damage taken phase, lining up a Fire Nova for the start of that phase can be quite key as well. Aside from that, we're basically going to keep Flame Shock up on the boss, Earth Shock on cooldown, and then Lava Lash just for maximum DPS. Hitting the boss as much as possible is going to be the key to doing as much DPS as possible as an Enhancement Shaman in raids. Finally then you have dungeons. Now I run two different setups in dungeons and it completely depends on the tank. So if we have a strong confident tank, a Pally or a Shaman, you're never going to get a Pally, but you know what I mean. But you have someone that you know is going to be a good tank, they're going to hold threat as much as possible, then you can go the Molten Blast build. Now the Molten Blast build runs double Rock Biter, uses rank 1 Flame Shocks to get resets on Molten Blast, and then just pumps Molten Blast. You keep 4 targets at any one point, and you just absolutely slap. The damage I can do with this build is insane, but it is something where you have threat modifiers in like 4 different places, and it will be an issue if you don't have a tank that's confident, or you have like a bear tank that just cannot keep aggro. The second setup I run is the typical single target build that you see in raids. So I would run Rock Biter main hand, Flame Tongue off hand, Lava Lash, and my key would be putting, basically because Flame Shock shouldn't last as long as a mob, I would just be pumping into one mob with Earth Shocks as well. You're probably going to pull aggro on that one mob, but at least everything else won't be hitting you as well. That second build, you want to take advantage of Fire Nova Totem a lot to try and drop that and do some AoE at least. But that's the two builds that I run in dungeons. Now, as of the recording this, it's like 20 past 10 at night, and they've just released the tuning changes for Season of Discovery. Now, I've done a video on this, you should go and check them out, and you can find out what the changes are. But the short of it is, Enhanced Shami gets some major buffs. Now, these buffs basically make dual wield specialization mandatory for any DPS enhancement, and they also make Lava Lash exceptionally good. Now, I'm actually going to be dropping Molten Blast in my dungeon groups and going for Lava Lash, just because I think it's going to do so much more damage, it's so much more mana efficient, you can basically Fire Nova every pull, and you'll still do decent overall damage, you'll have a lot better single target damage, and your threat won't be as big an issue. I think all-rounder, it's going to be a winner. But overall, this is my Shaman guide. I hope you guys have enjoyed. There's loads of information here, and I'm sure there's stuff that I've missed, so if there's anything you're not sure about, leave them in the comments below, and I will get back to you. Thanks for watching, guys. Catch you later.
Yeah. What you been playing? You know I'm playing on that shaman, baby. That shaman, baby. You know I'm playing on that shaman, baby. Shaman, baby. You seen that shaman? You seen that shaman? New meta. You seen that shaman? You seen that shaman?
Elemental, must be mental. Rocking these fools, keep up the tempo. Shocking these fools, leave you in limbo. Till them drop finish you in the endo. PvP or PvE, searching for runes on SOD. Shaman can tank, shield mastery. Storm strike to your face, that looks likely, yeah. Yeah.
Shock it like it's hot. Shock it like it's SOD. Shock it like it's hot. Shock it like it's SOD.
SOD shamans can't do anything. Grip a trouble, spam healing rain. Bomb a versatile target to cause some pain. Grew by low shamanistic rage. Where my shaman boys at, holla at me. Jay, I did this song for you, you should be happy. Talking like it's hot, came from Riggs, he made it snappy. Just having fun on a Saturday morning in my jammies. Mr. Sully on the track, so nasty.
Shock it like it's hot. Shock it like it's hot. Shock it like it's hot.
Chug it like it's SOD. Chug it like it's hot. Chug it like it's hot. Chug it like it's hot. Chug it like it's SOD.